One of the biggest lessons that I've learned over the past couple of years is that we need to be way more intentional about everything in our businesses and our lives if we truly want to get whatever it is that we're after. If we have a clear picture of who we want to become, what we want to do, and what we want to have, we need to be insanely intentional. And one of the individuals that has inspired me in the topic of intention is Mike Claudio. Mike Claudio was my personal business coach in 2022. I've been in the win rate consulting ecosystem for the past couple of years. And Mike is someone that has had direct influence on me in terms of being intentional with everything that I want in my business and my life. I recently had an opportunity to sit down with Mike down in Florida and chop it up about business, about life, about the mindset it takes to truly be intentional to go after everything that you want. Mike is a good friend of mine. He's someone that has a good presence. He commands attention. And you can see just in this conversation how intentional he's been with everything in his business and his life and how that has rubbed off on me as well. And we recorded this conversation because I wanted to rub off on you as well. I want you to be more intentional with everything that you're about and everything that you want as well. So tune into this conversation, this fun, casual, laid back conversation with my friend, Mike Claudio. Thanks for being here, Mike.
Yeah, man. Yeah, absolutely.
So you're keynoting, you're one of the keynote speakers at RoofCon.
I'm pretty excited about that. Yeah, no, they got thousands of tickets sold.
Yeah.
So I'm like anticipating, I'm like the second to last speaker on Saturday. So we'll still see who's like not hungover and who last to end of day Saturday.
You're a good person for that. Bring the energy.
I'm going to bring the energy.
Instead of some stiff up there who's going to bore people. When you're planning a presentation or a speech like this, what goes through your mind as far as how to provide the most value to the most people? Like, what's your approach?
So I don't try to bring value to a lot of people.
Okay.
I think about one person.
Awesome.
What's one person dealing with? And I try to get very intentional, very tactical, very specific down to that one person.
Yep.
And like, people are not as unique as they think they are. Right? Business owners are not as unique as they think they are. Roofing companies are not as unique as they think they are. And so you talk to one person very intimately, there could be 5,000 people in the room.
Yeah.
And what happens is each person has the freedom to put their feedback, their story, their nuance into the story.
Right.
Because I can get so into it. I'm not trying to teach everybody something.
Yeah.
And you know me, like I'm not the most we'll say education driven presenter.
Right.
It's not about the details. It's about telling enough of a story that allows people to put themselves into it. And then like run their own imagination. Like I always look for the part in the conversations, or we'll say presentations, when you watch people going into the rabbit hole in their own heads.
Yeah.
You've done it, right?
Yeah.
You've had me on stage, and like I see like or they're looking down and they're not looking at their phones.
Yeah.
You can sell like they're like thinking, they're deep thought on a message you gave. I think that's where a lot of people over deliver information in presentations.
Yeah. Guilty. I'm guilty of that.
Yeah. And like, because you lose people for like, let's take a 60-minute keynote, you're going to lose people for at least 30 minutes of that keynote.
It's hard to accept that, but it's reality. Right?
Especially if you're good at eliciting emotion from the audience, because you're going to drive them
ups and downs.
Like you're going to say something at the 15-minute mark, and they're going to go down a 15-minute visual of whatever story that you just triggered for them, right? Or whatever thought you just triggered for them. Like you told a story this morning about, John Maxwell said one thing.
Yeah.
You didn't hear anything else.
Yeah.
You went down this rabbit hole of, oh my God, that's the piece I was missing. And you go through the whole visualization of like the 10 years leading to that moment.
Yeah.
And then the next 10 months.
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
Right.
You didn't hear the rest of that entire speech.
Yeah.
And so I try to get 3, 4, 5 of those moments that I believe are intended for a specific avatar.
Man, I'm so glad I asked that question. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that. Because I am an over educator, because I'm like, I have to add so much value but you're right. Like,
well, it's about the time, right? Like you did that virtual training for the whole, for one of the Mike Claudio clients, right? And you could have talked on 45 minutes about one of those slides.
Yeah, I know.
Right. And you try to fit 30 to like, a 90-minute with Q&A.
Right.
You did a phenomenal job. It's one of the best I think I've ever seen you do, honestly. Like the way that, virtual is hard.
Yeah.
We're sitting in my living room. You're on the TV.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's hard to see everybody. It's hard to get the facial expressions of, is it working?
Yeah.
I think it's one of the best ones you've ever done from a delivery perspective. But like everybody took one thing away from that.
Right.
And you gave 120 things.
Right. Totally.
Great.
Yeah.
It showed why you are the expert that you are. But from a keynote perspective, an event like this, especially after 3 days of people being
100%.
sitting there, I'm going to talk to one person about that one thing.
I love that.
And I believe it'll land with thousands.
I think you do that good job of that in your podcast as well. Like your Monday morning motivation.
Yeah.
You're talking to like one person. Like I texted you on Monday morning. I'm like, dude, you're talking to me. Yeah. Like that resonated hardcore. That was awesome. So WinRate is a one-on-one coaching organization for construction and home services companies.
Correct.
Right?
Yep.
I know that because you posted on Facebook the other day, like very explicitly, just a reminder. Sometimes you have to remind people of what the heck you do.
And you do.
Besides putting out content.
Yeah, so I don't do a great job selling us.
I'm the same way. I forgot to do it this morning. I'm like, oh crap.
You need to like introduce your company because like it's hard when you spend so much time around people that know you.
Yeah. And I realized this room, I'm like, whoa, most people don't know who I am here.
I didn't have I didn't have an intro slide on my presentation for RoofCon.
Yeah.
I'm like, I should probably have an intro slide. Like,
well, you don't know who I am? That's your fault. That's you problem.
Who are you? Who are you? Where you been? Like,
well, so you see a lot of patterns. You work with a lot of contractors, a lot of home services companies. I'm sure you see a lot of patterns. What are some of the patterns you've seen this year? Whether it's where, guys are struggling or winning or finding wins.
I've been trying to put like a theme on the year.
Yeah, I can tell. I've seen it. Like you kind of mention your content here and there because I pay attention.
Yeah, no, and everything I do is intentional, ethical, like that. Like people underestimate how much thought I put into like what seems sporadic is very intentional.
Yeah,
you learned that firsthand.
The first event I came to, the first WinRate event in Greenville, South Carolina. No.
That was at the warehouse in Charlotte.
Yeah,
in Charlotte.
That first event, I walked in and like you could see the way like you operate like this next level of intentionality.
Yeah, very.
And that's
obsessively.
That's actually my word of this year is intention.
Well, that's awesome.
Intentional. So go ahead.
Yeah. So the pattern I saw this year is that money clouded a lot of process deficiencies over the last couple of years.
Yeah, I like that.
And so what happened was people were operating as if they were winning. And so if you look at we'll use marketing as and I used in a talk I did a couple months ago was like the 4th, 5th, 6th guy won because 1, 2, and 3 were too busy.
Oh,
right. Yeah. Like it was a waterfall effect.
Yeah.
Right. And so,
you're available? Sure. Let's go.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
You didn't have to be anything, do anything, have anything. You were just, you can get to it this year.
Yeah.
Here's a deposit. So I don't have to lose this. Right. And as projects become more sparse, there's not as much overflow from 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
1, 2, and 3 are always going to win, right? Because markets are big enough. There's enough to go around.
Yeah.
What happened was 4, 5, and 6 were winning without processes.
Ooh, yeah.
And then they were taking the idols, taking the PPPs, getting these huge cash influxes. And then now they're broke again.
Yeah.
What they didn't watch is as their cash reserves dwindled,
right?
They didn't pay attention to that. Means there's a hole in the ship.
Yeah.
You're not investing intentionally. If you're investing intentionally, there should be a return on investment. Mm-hmm. Your cash reserve should be like depleting every 90 days. And so the cash that was put in caused 1, 2, and 3 to stay over busy, which caused people to jump at 4, 5, and 6, right? And those 4, 5, and 6 are the ones that are hurting right now. 1, 2, and 3 are they're not a year out like they used to be.
Right.
They're starting to feel some pressure. They're starting to feel a little bit different. They're starting to maybe have to pull back on their sales team a little bit.
Yeah.
There's some layoffs happening.
Look at their marketing spend and, all that stuff.
Yeah, 100%. So they're getting 1, 2, and 3 are getting more intentional.
Yeah.
4, 5, and 6 are drowning because they overinvested. They hired without processes. They hired because there was a ton of business coming their way because 1, 2, and 3 physically couldn't take on more business.
Yeah.
And now you're seeing strategy, process, brand, sales presentation, due diligence, follow-up are now necessary.
Yeah.
And 4, 5, and 6 don't have it. So their process deficiencies are causing them to underperform wildly. And they don't have the skill set to solve the problem. 1, 2, and 3 have the skill sets.
Right.
And I'm not judging 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah.
But if you felt like, oh man, dude, I'm a 2020, 2021, 2022, and that's the only business experience you have, you will have never ran a business. It was a checkout.
Yeah.
It was literally a checkout.
Yeah. You're
right?
an order taker.
You were literally an order taker.
Yeah.
And I'm not judging you, but accept that. Like,
Right.
I'm not saying you're just ignorant, not in a good way. Like you just don't know. You don't know.
Yeah.
But those are the people I think this year, I think money really clouded process deficiencies.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, I can look at, like, I'm going down the rabbit hole in my mind right now, looking at contractor dynamics. We're guilty of some of that as well.
Well, I think they had to scale at a faster pace than they've ever seen before.
Yes.
And so like guys like us are implement, analyze, adjust.
Yeah.
You're better at that now than I think you were previously.
Yeah.
But
we don't go a week without looking at like all the scorecard.
We had to make decisions faster than we could analyze and adjust.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're implementing quickly.
Right.
Hires, customers, product offerings, services.
Yeah.
And so that's why you see a lot of guys adding extra services now.
Yeah.
Because they're primary, because they hired all these people.
Yeah.
That wasn't sufficient.
Well, don't be afraid to make the next decision, which you coach me on.
But they don't have to, they don't have enough time to analyze and adjust between decisions.
Yeah, that's true.
So they're making sporadic, like I call it like this. They're making sporadic decisions like this, where snapshot, every one of those decisions makes sense based on the data, but none of them work together. Right. And so they're constantly volleying between what gets attention, what gets money, what gets what gets improved, right? Because if you're constantly implementing, analyzing, there's nothing being adjusted. Yeah. And so you go even further in 10 directions. Yeah. Right? And all of that just, I think, is destroying people right now.
Wow. Job security for guys like you. And I guess us too.
I'll say it. You know, it goes both ways, right? Like we had more attrition this year in client base than we were used to. And I think a big part of it is those 4, 5, and 6s. Yeah. Right. And not everybody solved the problems. Not everybody did the work. Not everybody wanted to evolve the way that they needed to keep up with the market demands right now. And those guys, we lost a decent amount in third quarter. September, we've talked about this, right? September's the worst month of the year for business. I've always talked about it. Yeah. And we lost like 8 or 9 guys in September. Yeah. Because I think it's like the black hole of the year. It's the rush of the summers worn you out. You're recognizing you're not going to hit your yearly targets, and it becomes this black hole of depression and anxiety. It happens every
Hey man, real talk. No one wants to talk about that stuff.
No, it's real talk. September sucks. And so that was like let's analyze. Yeah. Right? And every one of the people that left, we would have said by looking at their year and their activity and the way they showed up for the coaching, we're not ideal clients.
Yeah. We can, same thing.
Same thing. Like, neither one of us are a done for you company. Right. We're a done with you, but really we're going to teach you how to do it. Yeah. And so that was a big part of this year, I think, was really analyzing, like, we made some changes going next year. Yeah. We're not locking down TCC next year. Because what happened was that scarcity caused FOMO caused people to sign up that shouldn't have. Yeah. Because they're like, we got to get in now.
When you're too good at sales sometimes.
And so like we had like major attrition in February and major attrition in September because people got in like, oh, we'll figure it out. And by February, they can't afford it. Right. You shouldn't have signed up. Yeah. And like, we don't do like, hey, submit your P&L, your balance sheet to make sure you can afford services. We just assume you're an adult and you make financial decisions. But no, not always. And so we're analyzing right now going into next year and like creating less of a scarcity mindset, more of a come when you're ready, more of a higher qualifier. Cool. And we're still growing. Like, we're looking at numbers right now. We did 2.2 last year. We'll do like 3.3 this year, give or take. We already got 2.4 in renewals for next year. Awesome. I'm happy with that. Yeah. Like I'm thrilled with that, right? Like we're going in just on the renewals we have right now on existing clients. Right. That's where we're at. Awesome. Like that's a huge win for me. I'm going into 2024 with more revenue on the books than I did in 2022. And I haven't even started hire. Like I just got like my new, director of revenue doesn't start till January. Cool. I got my first sales guy ever that's actually producing something. Awesome. He's only in his in this 90th day. Okay. So like we're poised for growth. Yeah. Yeah. And if we don't, my nut's covered. Cool. Everybody's paid next year. We get to throw our events. Maybe there's not as much for marketing or travel or events, sponsorships. But like I can pay my team and throw our events and still hit my 20% net margin, which is my target. Yeah, I can do all of that right now for 2024. That's awesome. So it's like I'm excited about growth. Yeah, but if I look at the holistic of this year, we're going at it differently because of that. There's not going to be as many 4, 5s, and 6s. Okay, there's a lot more 1, 2s, and 3s, and they're going to be a lot more specific with how they're investing their money. We've seen that ourselves as well, where you see roofing companies, contracting companies, they've been overspending on marketing because they just didn't care because they had so much money. Yep. And they're just throwing things out there, 10 grand. Why not? 10 grand, 20 grand a month, whatever. And now they're looking at that and be like, dude, what I'm spending 10 grand on what? And now like they're coming to us where they can spend less with us
They can hire an in-house marketing manager, still have some money for marketing.
Not spend 200 grand a year.
And maybe spend the same, but they're getting ridiculous. Like they have more control. They're getting better results, or they can spend less, whatever.
Well, the truth is, and I'm sure you see this, it's the 80-20 rule is massive in marketing. 80% of your results come from 20% of the effort.
Yeah. Well, there's that old saying, like,
it's not old, bro. It's new as shit. Like, it's always reasserting itself.
Yeah.
And if you look at, like, I just did this with a client who probably spends about 30 grand a month in marketing, and they're about a $5 million company.
Okay.
And they had like, I think it was like 11 or 12 different marketing avenues.
Yeah.
The magazines to the networking, to the sponsorships, to the stuff like this. And we looked at it, and like literally 80% of his results came from 20% of his spend.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, well, cut that out next year. Cut that up. Yeah. That contract up. When that contract up? And it was like, we saved $100,000 for next year.
There you go.
And we'll get better results because we're going to take what's left, double down on what's working.
Totally.
And he was like, man, I'm so glad we just looked at this.
Yeah.
Because guys just don't look at it.
Totally.
Especially a $5 million company.
Yeah.
$5 million is like, you're still 2 in the business.
Yeah.
Most business owners.
Right.
5 million, you're still pretty in it.
And we go through the exercise of like a new client or a prospect. Like, what are you spending? Like, oh, I'll do $3,000 in Google ads, $2,000 in this, $3,000 in that. And it's not until they're in that conversation, like, oh, that adds up to $13,000 a month. Like, I didn't realize, and it just happens because you add complexity over time. And you got
most people don't even track where the leads came from.
Oh yeah.
Luckily, this client had that.
Yeah.
Like they did a very good job tracking lead sources.
Right.
But most people don't even have that.
No, I know.
Like, what leads you about? Oh man, I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, that's $36,000 a year. You're just throwing it, and it doesn't. That's a lot of money.
Praying and praying, man.
Bro, like that's a position.
Yeah.
Right. It's that's a hire.
Yeah.
That you're just throwing at something and you don't even know if it's working or not.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, there's an old saying that 50% of my marketing isn't working. I'm just not sure what 50%. It's so true.
And it does change over time.
And that's what we're going to go into after this break. We're going to go into marketing math and numbers and plans. But one of the things I want to highlight, what Mike said, is go down that rabbit hole. Like he's clear on what win rate is doing for 2024 on their numbers. Yeah. And Mike has helped me do that as a client of win rate. And we help our clients do that, get super clear on their numbers and what they want. Because if you're not as dialed in as Mike is, like you're flying blind. Well, and I've flown blind for way too long, and it puts the business at risk, and it's unnecessary stress on everyone.
And so even to double down on what we talked about, the 1, 2s, and 3s, I've had substantially more people pay to have me come in for a day to sit with them.
I've seen that on the social.
It's been substantially more because those 1, 2s, and 3s know the value.
Yeah.
I'm not judging like 1, 2s, and 3s. I'm not like, I'm just using it as a generic statement. Yeah. Those guys who like are intentional with their money are now spending more money to bring me in to sit with that team in person for a day. And it's bringing massive value. Yeah. But they're actually spending more money with me.
Right.
Right. And so look at from a business perspective, those people, like no matter who you are, you have customers right now 10%. That will spend more money with you. Yeah. Because they value what you bring. Yeah. And getting more granular and getting more intentional. And you can't get it wrong right now. And so paying to have people come in and help, like a Contractor Dynamics, like a Win Rate, like a Mike Claudio, like a Joe Hughes, and like, okay, I really need to dial this in. Yeah. And that's like, I got like 3 or 4 now on the end of the year. Awesome. That's crazy. Yeah. Compared to like, it's what's happening is the client base is seeing each other doing it. Yes. Like, what is that? Oh, that's like, a thing? I didn't know that. Yeah. Yeah. And so if you're interested, you pitched me to you earlier, or you pitched you. I learned from you. Yeah, it's perfect.
No, we have one in Colorado right now, like where I won't even go. Probably it'll be Sydney because she's going to be better at it than I am as far as getting into the tactics. Yeah. And that's Clifton tells me all the time. He's like, yo, develop your higher price program because 10% of your client base wants to pay you more for something.
They do.
And we have yet to do that. So we'll work on that.
I mean, and in person. Yeah. And I'll tell you later how I price that stuff.
Oh yeah. Juicy. Juicy. That's behind the scenes, guys. You got to subscribe.
Well, I don't know what is going out. This is evergreen content. The price is going up. Tomorrow's price is not today's price.
So get in now. Yeah. Smash that link below.
Yeah. But overall, I think that's like people right now, there are still clients who are spending money. Yeah. And if you believe that you are behind, get help. Yeah. And so, we have clients right now that are crushing it year over year. And we have others that are flatter down. Yeah. Really comes down to who implemented the help the most effectively.
And it's not always about revenue. It's profit, it's efficiency. Mike talked about net profit. Like we're focused on improving profit this year. And
my target is 20% net. Yeah. We're like 21% year to date right now.
Awesome.
So I'm thrilled with that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thanks for being here, Mike. I appreciate your support.
Dude, congratulations though, man.
Thank you.
I mean, for like where you were last year on where you were going with this and what you wanted to do and started to dabble in the events. And, I think like today's event is an accumulation of 18 months of focus and effort. And like, yes, there's room for improvement. We take takeaways from every event.
Oh yeah.
But I really want you to take a minute and just look at like you built this.
Yeah.
Like they're all here and they may not be here for you specifically, but they're here because of you.
Yeah. That's a great point.
And I think I just give yourself an opportunity, because even the way that, you're recognized at RoofCon as just a staple, of integrity and values. And, the roofing industry specifically it's not always clear waters, man. There's some dirty water out there.
Yeah.
And, I think I want to congratulate you.
Cool.
Because I watched you go through a lot of battles last year with the change in pricing, the change in approach, the change in offer, the change in the team.
Yeah.
I remember the first time you had to get off a call for something, like let someone else run one. You were freaking out. And now like you're going to talk for 30 minutes at a whole day event. And I know it is. I was up there watching Sydney and Elizabeth. I was getting choked up a little bit. It's like I am now. It's like, it's so cool to give them that platform. And they are so good at what they do. And Elizabeth's a tremendous presenter. And like, it's awesome to see them just like thrive. What's cool is like you are now a better CEO than you are a marketer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Think about that.
Yeah. I mean, where's John? John's not in here. I learn from John every day. Like as far as marketing, like here's what to do this, don't do this on Instagram, do this. 100%. I'm like, all right, cool. Like feed me. Like
that's what you hired me for last year was like, Mike, I need to become a better CEO, right? That was a conversation we had. And right now in this moment, 10 months later since we've coached together.
There you go.
You are a better CEO than you are a marketer for the first time in 10 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's real, dude.
Yeah.
Dude, that's pretty fucking cool.
It's interesting. And then in a couple of years, I might not even be the CEO. I might be just a visionary dude. Like
be an investor, just consulting other marketing companies.
Yeah.
Lots of money.
Yeah.
But it's just really cool to see your transition, man, from where you were just completely suffocating everything last year.
Yeah.
Because you were so afraid to let go of stuff.
Yeah.
To like now, like you literally had nothing to do with this.
Mm-hmm.
And while also having everything to do with it.
Yeah. And then, we're in an event with 100 people and we have, dozens of clients that are being served right now all over the country by our team. Yep. Which I'm not in contact with. Like it's crazy. Yeah.
You did
it's
it.
Cool.
Cool. You did the next
scary as hell
base camp. You did the base camp.
Yeah.
The
base camp.
This is the base camp. It's not the end. It's not the summit.
Yeah.
So like now you get a chance to settle in here for a little bit.
Yeah.
Right. Catch your breath, reacclimate.
Right.
No, to dream again.
Exactly. Yeah.
Man.
This is awesome, man. Thanks so much for being here, supporting us, supporting the team. Absolutely. Helping out, handing out t-shirts earlier, man.
I'm versatile. I handed out pens today, name tags, shirts. I'm probably gonna be scooping out lunch later. Like,
so for you.
You made a post on the internal customer Facebook group earlier today. Like, I really do just love helping people.
Yeah,
I mean, it really does just bring me like I can tell. I'm smiling.
Right Tiffany, your wife, was here too. Like she's
for no reason.
She's putting name tags in, like prepping and like
it's just who we are.
It was just a whirlwind. Like this is crazy. Yeah,
it's who we are. And it's like you can't fake that.
No.
And like, I appreciate you recognizing that.
And it's cool to have people around like you guys, our team, that like, if something goes wrong, like the batteries in the microphone went bad. And I looked though, like I didn't do anything. Yeah. 2 seconds later, Elizabeth's like walking somewhere to go get batteries. Like that's, that's cool, man. So values, culture,
congrats.
Being a good person. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate you.
Absolutely.
If you guys are in a position where you find yourself, you've been spraying and praying with your marketing. We've got a guy out in our event. He told me before we're having coffee, he's working with 3 different marketing companies. He's like, I'm sick of it. I need to bring everything in-house, take more control, get control of my spending. If you're in that position, which so many people are, wildly overspending on marketing, having no idea what's going on, and more importantly, what you're getting in return, reach out to us here at Contractor Dynamics. We can help you give us some clarity on how to build out a marketing plan so you can track everything, you know what's going on, and you're getting the results and you're building the brand that you need to get your company to that next level. So reach out to us at Contractor Dynamics. We want to support you in your next level of growth. All right, guys, to wrap up this conversation with Mike Claudio, I want you to find one thing in your business or your life that you can be more intentional about. It might be your finances. It might be your marketing. It might be your sales process. It might be creating a vision for your business, or maybe it's in your life. Maybe it's intentional with your relationship with your spouse, intentional with your kids, intentional with working out, with eating well, whatever that might be for your particular situation. Just find one thing and just double down on that every day for the next 21 days and see what happens. I challenge you to do that. Beyond that, make sure you give Mike a follow on Instagram, on Facebook, follow his podcast, the Big Stud Podcast. It's a really good show. And of course, make sure you're subscribed and you're following along to the Nailed It Show so that you get fresh content every week in your inbox. We'll talk to you soon.